We are going to do facilitation exercises for hypotonic cerebral palsy. Okay, so whenever we talk about facilitation exercises, it is very important for hypotonic cerebral palsy. So first we'll start with first facilitation exercises. You can see the picture. Okay, the kid is around 9-year-old. The kid is a hypotonic cerebral palsy. The kid doesn't have head control and trunk control. So you can see in the picture there are two therapists. Okay, so the kid is sitting on a table. Okay, one therapist is sitting behind the kid, holding the occiput and holding the chin, especially the tongue. One therapist is sitting forward, okay, and holding the posterior lateral of the rib cage and pushing down the kid to maintain in sitting posture. Okay, the therapist who is sitting in front of the kid is holding at the posterior lateral side of the rib cage and she is pushing the kid down in sitting position. The other therapist is sitting behind the child, holding the occiput and down the chin, especially to prevent the tongue retraction. So the main exercise and the main thing in this exercise is they are facilitating the head control over the trunk. Okay, once the therapist stabilizes the trunk in extension, automatically it will be easy for the kid to hold the head and neck alignment on the trunk. If trunk is flexed, automatically the head will fall. So the therapist who is sitting in front of the kid is holding both the hands on the posterior lateral sides of the rib cage. Okay, so automatically what happens, the trunk will be stabilized and it will be in extension. The other therapist who is sitting behind will be holding the occiput and the chin, okay, to maintain the head and neck on the trunk. Okay, this is one kind of facilitation exercise. So you can see the picture. Okay, the kid will be sitting. Okay, one therapist will be back, one therapist will be forward. The therapist who is forward will be supporting at the posterior lateral rib cage. The therapist who is sitting behind will be supporting the occiput and the lower aspect of the chin, especially the tongue region. Okay, this is one kind of facilitation technique for the trunk and for the head control. Next we will go to the other technique. Okay, you can see the kid. Okay, in most of the cerebral palsy, hypotonic cerebral palsy kids, there won't be head control. Okay, so when we get thoracic extension and rotation, automatically the head will be stabilized. Okay, so you can see the picture there. Okay. Okay, in this kid, usually what happens, okay, the head control will not be there. So the main thing is that you just get thoracic extension and rotate. Automatically when you give thoracic extension and rotation, automatically the head will have control. Okay, the head will come into extension. Okay, so it will be like this. When you get thoracic extension and rotation, automatically the head control will improve. So this is one kind of facilitation exercises for improving the head control. Okay, so the main thing is that make the kid sit like this, get thoracic extension first and do thoracic rotation. Okay, any side, thoracic extension towards right side. Okay, so you just get thoracic extension and rotation, automatically you can expect facilitation of the head. Okay, so usually the head will be like this. When you get thoracic extension and rotation, automatically the head control will get improved. Okay, so this is one kind of facilitation technique for improving the head control by getting the thoracic extension and rotation. So you can see this picture. This exercise is usually to facilitate the trunk extension and rotation. So this trunk extension, active trunk extension and rotation is very important in sitting postures. Okay, so if the kid wants to get a good sitting balance, good sitting control, so the kid should have good trunk extension and active trunk extension and rotation. So we can facilitate active trunk extension and rotation by this exercise. You can see the therapist will be sitting in long sitting. Okay, so the therapist will be sitting in long sitting. So the kid will be taking weight on one knee. Okay, the other leg will be extension on the therapist lap. Okay, and the kid will be taking weight on the right hand. Okay, so the kid will be reaching out with the left hand. Okay, and one of the important thing, the therapist hands will be in the abdominal region. One hand will be on the gluteals. Okay, so one leg will be kneeling on the right side. The kid will be taking weight on this side, and on the hand on the right side. The left hand will be reaching out. Okay, so in this what happens when the kid is reaching out for any kind of toys or any kind of ball throwing, automatically latissimus dorsi muscle will be elongated on this side. Automatically the kid will get trunk extension and rotation by weight shifts. Okay, so you can see the picture. Okay, the kid will be taking weight on the right knee. The left leg will be in extension on the therapist lap. The kid will be taking weight on the right upper limb. Okay, with the left upper limb, the kid will be reaching out activities. So basically, this exercise is to facilitate trunk extension and trunk rotation and stretching of the latissimus dorsi on the left side. Okay, so this is one kind of exercises for facilitating active trunk extension and trunk rotation. So this exercise is useful for maintenance of sitting balance, sitting postures, which is very important. One of the important thing is that you should know the therapist hand placement. You can see the hand placement of the therapist will be on the lower abdominals, especially on the oblique muscles. One hand will be on the gluteal muscles. So usually one leg is taking weight on the knees, other leg is extended. So this is called dissociated position of the lower limb. Okay, so this is called dissociated position. One leg is flexed and one leg is extended. So this is called dissociated position for the lower limb. Okay, so this is facilitation of active trunk extension and trunk rotation, which is very important for maintaining the sitting postures and sitting balance. So in all the hypotonic cerebral palsy kids, the tone will be decreased, the muscle tone will be less. So it is very important we have to do facilitation techniques. So the facilitation techniques, you should concentrate more on head control and the trunk and the spine and the abdominals. These are the important things for getting into any kind of, for the kid to do any kind of normal activities of daily living. You can see this picture. Okay, this kid is around 6 years old kid. Okay, so basically this is mainly to facilitate the standing position by slightly moving the ball towards the right and left so that we can facilitate the trunk rotation. So you can see this picture. So ball will be there in front. Okay, one leg will be taking weight on the floor, one leg will be on the ball. You can see this posture. Okay, one leg will be on the ball. Okay, one leg will be taking on weight on the foot. The therapist will be sitting behind, okay, holding at the lower abdominals, especially the obliques. So the kid will be taking weight on the ball. So we can rotate the ball slowly towards right and left, so that automatically what happens, weight shifts will happen, automatically trunk rotation will happen. Okay, so you can see the picture. You can see this picture. The kid is standing on the ball with one leg flexed. Is one kind of dissociated position. Okay, so one leg is flexed on the ball and one leg is extended. So it is one kind of dissociated position. Abdominal muscles, especially the oblique muscles. So slowly she is rotating the ball towards right and left, so that actually the trunk rotation will happen in the spine. So this is one kind of facilitation technique for the trunk, which is very, very important. So this is facilitation technique for abdominals. So how we can facilitate the abdominal muscles? So it is very, very simple. Make the kid sit on the floor. Okay. First you get thoracic extension. Okay. Slowly move the kid backwards. Okay. So when the kid is falling backwards, you have to maintain the extension of the spine. Okay. When the kid is falling backwards, the kid will lift the lower legs and will contract the abdominals to prevent falling back. Understand what I am talking? So I am making the kid to sit on the floor. I am getting extension of the spine and slowly moving the kid backwards. Okay, by maintaining the extension of the spine. So when the kid is falling backwards, to prevent falling backwards, the kid will contract the abdominal muscles by raising the lower limbs. Understood what I am talking? If the kid is not able to contract the abdominals, the kid will fall backwards. Okay, so this is mainly to facilitate the abdominal muscles for hypotonic cerebral palsy kids. You can see the kid is sitting long sitting. The therapist will be sitting behind. The therapist will be getting spinal extension. Okay. So once the child is getting spinal extension, automatically the therapist will tilt the child backwards towards the base of the support. Okay. So the kid, to prevent falling backwards, okay, the kid will contract the abdominal muscles by lifting the lower legs. So this is one of the important facilitation technique for improving the abdominal muscles for the hypotonic cerebral palsy kids. So you can see this exercise. This exercise is mainly to facilitate the hip extensors, knee extensors, and the dorsiflexors. Okay. So you can see the therapist is sitting in front of the kid. Okay. The therapist one leg will be on, the kid's one leg will be on therapist lap, should be flexed at 90 degrees, hip and knee should be flexed at 90 degrees. Okay. Other leg, the stance leg should be in weight bearing position. One hand of the therapist should be on the gluteal muscles, other hand of the therapist should be on the knee extensors. Okay. So when we shift the weight on the stance leg, which is the weight bearing, automatically the kid has to contract the dorsiflexors, the kid has to contract the quadriceps, and the kid has to contract the abdominal muscles. Okay, so very, very important. The therapist will be sitting in front of the child. Okay, one leg should be, hip and knee should be flexed to 90 degrees and should be supported on the therapist lap. The other leg should be taking weight on the floor, which is called stance leg. Okay, the one hand of the therapist should be on the hip joint to make it in neutral or slightly adducted. One hand of the therapist should be on the knee joint, so slightly give weight shifts towards the stance leg. When we give weight shift towards the stance leg, the kid has to contract the dorsiflexors, the kid has to contract the quadriceps, and the kid has to contract or facilitate the abdominal muscles. Okay, so these exercises will help to facilitate these three muscles, which is very, very important. So the leg, please to understand, this leg is 90 degrees, hip should be 90 degrees and knee should be 90 degrees, and you should be taking on weight on the, should be on resting on the therapist lap. The other leg should be weight bearing. Okay, when the therapist slightly shifts weight towards the stance leg, the dorsiflexors will contract, the quadriceps muscle will contract, the kid has to contract the abdominal muscles. So this is one kind of facilitation technique for quadriceps, dorsiflexors, and the abdominal muscles. You can see this picture. Basically, this picture, this exercises is for facilitating active trunk extension by stretching the intercostal muscles. So the kid will be standing in front of the ball. The therapist should be behind, holding on the rib cage, especially on the lateral sides of the rib cage, and she has to slightly stretch the lower rib cage so that the kid has to take weight bearing on the lower legs. So basically this exercise is for elongating the intercostal muscles. So most of the times in hypotonic cerebral palsy, the muscles around the chest, the spine will have decreased muscle tone. There won't be any kind of muscle tone, especially the intercostal muscles will be very, very weak. So it is very, very important. You have to concentrate elongating the intercostal muscles of the rib cage. So you can use a ball in front. The therapist should be behind. Okay. So the hand should be on the posterior lateral sides of the rib cage. The kid should be taking weight on the legs and slowly facilitate slowly facilitate to take weight on the legs. So when the therapist is doing like that, slowly the intercostal muscles will be elongated and the patient takes weight on the foot. Okay, so this is one way to elongate the intercostal muscles by using the physio ball. The next exercise we can talk about is to facilitate the thoracic extension in sitting. Okay, so to facilitate thoracic extension, the kid should be sitting on a small bench. Okay, the other bench should be little bit higher so that the kid should be playing with the hands. The therapist should be sitting behind, okay, facilitating or giving some kind of sensory input at the thoracic region. You can see this picture. The kid is sitting on a small chair, okay, the feet is on the floor. In front of the child you can see a little bit bigger bench. In the bench you can see some toys is there. Okay, the kid will be using the shoulder flexion to 90 degrees for taking the toys, for throwing the balls. Okay, when the kid is using the shoulder at 90 degrees, the kid has to maintain the thoracic extension, which is very, very important. It's not that easy in cerebral palsy kids. So the therapist should be sitting behind and should be assisting in thoracic extension. If the therapist will not assist the spine will go for flexion. When the spine goes for flexion, the kid can't use shoulder flexion for doing any kind of activities by holding the toys, by throwing the balls. The kid can't utilize the shoulder flexion. So it is very, very important. The therapist should be sitting behind the child and assisting in thoracic extension, which is very, very important. So the next facilitation exercise is trunk extension and rotation on the physio ball. Okay, so you can make the child sit like this. Okay, ask the child to take weight on one side. Okay, so automatically you can facilitate trunk extension and rotation like this. Okay, so it's very simple. Make the kid sit like this. Ask the kid to take weight on both the hands and slightly rotate. The therapist should assist in thoracic extension and rotation. Okay, so this is to facilitate the thoracic extension and rotation. There is other facilitation exercises for the upper limbs, especially to facilitate the rotator cuff muscles and the biceps and the triceps and the wrist extensors. Okay, the kid should be on prone line. Okay, the therapist will be supporting the elbow joint in extension. Okay, the other hand will be free for playing or throwing the ball. So basically, the kid will be taking weight on the one upper limb. This is basically to facilitate the rotator cuff muscles and the muscles around the elbow joint and the wrist joint. Okay, so like this we can facilitate the rotator cuff muscles on the physio ball. So these are some of the facilitation exercises we can come across in any hypotonic cerebral palsy kid. So in examination, I will be asking you simple questions. Demonstrate 2 facilitation exercises on physio ball, or demonstrate 2 facilitation exercises on the floor, or demonstrate facilitation exercises for head control for hypotonic cerebral palsy. Whenever I say hypotonic cerebral palsy, we have to do facilitation exercises. Understood what I am talking? Okay. So whenever I am asking any kind of facilitation exercises, it is for hypotonic cerebral palsy. Okay, you must be knowing there are different types of cerebral palsy. We have spastic diplegia, hypotonic cerebral palsy, we have ataxic cerebral palsy, athetoid cerebral palsy, we have spastic hemiparesis or hemiplegia. So we have different types of cerebral palsies are there. Whenever I say your patient is having hypotonic cerebral palsy, you should do only facilitation exercises, because in hypotonic cerebral palsy the tone will be decreased from head to the toe. All the muscles in the body, the tone will be decreased. So it is very, very important you should do facilitation techniques. So whatever techniques I have explained you, all those things will come under facilitation techniques. Okay, so I have demonstrated facilitation techniques for head, I have demonstrated facilitation techniques for the thoracic extension and thoracic rotation, I have demonstrated facilitation techniques for abdominals, I have demonstrated facilitation techniques for lower limb, especially the dorsiflexors, quadriceps, abdominals. Understood what I am talking? I have demonstrated facilitation techniques for rotator cuff muscles. Okay, I have demonstrated facilitation of active trunk extension and rotation on the ball. So all these things will come under facilitation techniques of hypotonic cerebral palsy. Is it clear?
Yes.
We will discuss a small topic which is ataxic cerebral palsy. Is there an exam today?
اي شيء
صرفوا
اي
بس
خلاص
عرفوا اليوم المساح الله يعينك.
So the next cerebral palsy is ataxic cerebral palsy. So whenever we say ataxic cerebral palsy, the major damage is in the cerebellum. Understand what I am talking? Because of damage in the cerebellum, these people will have balance problems. Okay, these people will have proprioception problems. So they will be using with wide base of support. You can see this picture. Okay. So because they have ataxia because of damage in the cerebellum, okay, so they are afraid that they will fall. They are very afraid and they are very fearful. So they maintain a large base of support. Okay, so we have to do some kind of exercises for helping these ataxic cerebral palsy kids, especially the balance. So mainly the balance will be problem in ataxic cerebral palsy and proprioception will be problem. So we will talk about some of the important all these treatment principles you must have come across. You should concentrate on normal milestones, which is developmental process. The next thing is that you should work on core muscles of the spine to improve the muscle strength and the balance. The next thing is that we have to work for coordination of upper limbs and lower limbs. So all these things are very much problem in ataxic cerebral palsy case. The next thing is that we have to improve the breathing control, especially in expiration. The next thing is that we have to train these children in variety of environments. We have to train here, we have to train outside, we have to train outdoors, we have to train in the environment where people are there. So we have to train in a different environments so that the kid should get balance, coordination, the falls will be less. The most important thing is that, okay, so we have to improve the visual scanning. Especially these kids, they can't look up, they will be looking downwards all the time because they are afraid that they will fall. So it is very, very important we have to improve the visual scanning, especially on gathering information from the environment. So we will see some of the important exercises. So this exercise is for sitting on the bolster with vision down on a toy, giving foot support, asking the child to maintain the balance while moving the bolster. So it's a very simple exercise. Basically this exercise is to facilitate the balance. Okay. So the kid will be sitting on the bolster with the legs. The therapist will be sitting behind. Okay, we'll be using some bench. Okay, we have to put some toys or some kind of any kind of equipment where the kid will be looking on the toys. Okay, so the therapist will be sitting behind the child. Slowly, we should be moving the bolster towards the right and left. Okay, when you keep moving like this, okay, she will try to improve the balance of the trunk and the head. So we are doing this exercise to improve the balance. Okay, so we are using the bolster. The therapist should be behind. Okay, the kid should be concentrating, focusing on some kind of toys. Okay, so slowly we have to do balance towards the left side and towards the right side. Okay, so this is about sitting on the bolster with vision down on a toy, giving foot support and asking the child to maintain the balance while moving the bolsters. So these are the initial exercises. So the next exercise is on the physio ball. Okay, so on the physio ball, first any kind of exercises we should start on the static surface. Slowly we should progress to the dynamic surface, which is the physio ball. So these are the simple exercises. The therapist will be sitting behind. Okay, so one of the therapists will be sitting forward and giving some kind of visual input. So the kid should focus on visual input. Okay, the therapist will be sitting behind, will be giving slight perturbations towards the right side or the left side. Okay, so by this what happens? The kid vision will be concentrating automatically. She has to get balance on sitting the ball. Okay, so why important? Why you have to concentrate vision? Because if she loses vision, automatically the balance will not be there. So we have to tell her to concentrate vision on somewhere else. So automatically we have to maintain the balance on the physio ball. Okay, so slightly have to give perturbations, and we can use slight perturbations towards the back side, sideways. Okay, so we can use low bouncers, which improves the proprioception of the kid. So the next exercise is sitting on a high bench, moving the lower extremity in air. This helps in postural control. So make the kid sit on a high bench where the feet should not be supporting. Just slowly bend the leg and keep it on other leg. Okay. So by this what happens? The base of support will decrease. When base of support decreases, the kid should use balance for sitting. So see, I am sitting here, my base of support is more. When I am lifting the leg up, my base of support is decreasing. When my base of support is decreasing, I have to maintain the balance. Understand what I am talking? So if I am like this, my base of support is more. My balance will be good. When I lift my leg up, my base of support is decreasing. I am sitting on only one leg. So my base of support is decreasing. So my balance, I have to use more muscles to maintain this posture. Okay. So this is also the same exercises. But one of the important thing is that the feet should not be touching the floor. It should be above the floor. Okay. You can see help them to gain independent sitting control. Okay. So we can facilitate sitting postures on a bench, but please make sure that the feet should not be touching the floor. Okay. Get spinal extension and ask the kid to focus on some kind of activities, visual activities. Okay, some kind of auditory activities. So by that what happens? The kid's balance and vision proprioception will improve in these postures. We can do all these activities in standing. So the same thing, sitting activities, we can do sitting activities in a small bench, higher bench, even we can do on the physio ball. Then we can progress to standing activities. So we can make the kid stand. Okay, ask the kid to look up. Okay, visually engage, ask him to throw the ball. Okay, any kind of basketball, you can throw the basketball. You can give any kind of racket, ask the kid to hit any kind of ball, so that the kid will get visually engaged and the kid should maintain the balance in standing. Okay, so these are some of the activities we can do for ataxic cerebral palsy. So in the standing same, we can ask the kid to pick up some toys from the down and throw it up sideways. So automatically transportation, automatically the balance will get improved. Okay, so these are some of the activities. Have any queries, any questions? So these are the two topics. So I discuss about the other things in next lecture. Have any queries, any questions? You can take a 5 minutes break and you can come back.
Huh?
You can take a 5 minutes break.
And take attendance to go.
Yeah, you first come back and after that we'll see.
We'll go to the